Sunday and welcome back to my channel. And this week we're going to be making over a closet in the studio. So right now we're in the studio space and right here is the closet that we're going to be making over. So this closet, this room used to be our guest bedroom, and this closet is used as my husband's kind of spare wardrobe sort of space. He's been using this closet for quite a few years now, pretty much the duration of our entire relationship. And it's not a bad closet, but it just doesn't make a lot of functional sense. Alright, so to get this project started, the very first thing that I want to do is measure, mark, and cut some wood that we're going to use for the shelving in this closet. And to make this closet, I'm going to try to use 100% materials that I already have on hand. If I'm successful in that, this closet will cost me $0 to redo. My goal is to use scrap wood that I have already from other projects, or sometimes, honestly, when people put lumber on the curb that they're getting rid of, I snatch it up and I put it in our garage in our little wood closet that we have. And when things like this come around where I need scrap wood or I need to make shelving and I don't want to go buy a bunch of lumber because wood can be expensive, I use things like that and then we can just paint it and you won't even know it's different wood. I'm going to go ahead and measure this closet and start marking out our wood so that we can cut it. And before I do that, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see more videos like this every single week. I put out new videos every Sunday, and make sure that you stick around to the very end if you want to see the entire closet transformation and how we're going to take this closet from looking like a hot mess, just falling apart closet to an organized, easy to work with, functional space. We have all of the wood cut and painted and ready to install. So it is that time. It's the moment that I've been putting off this entire DIY process where I need to take everything out of this closet and start installing the new shelving and all that kind of stuff into the closet. Honestly, I think the main reason that I've been putting this off is because this closet is so small that I truly don't know how I'm going to successfully film in it. But I really want to share this process with you guys and show you how I'm taking such a small, not super functional space and making it better for us and easier to work with, so that maybe it can help you all if you have a closet that is like this as well, to get the most out of your space. Before I take everything out, I had a thought that I thought might be fun for one of the next videos coming up, and you all can let me know if you're interested in this or not. But in our last video where I did the haul, I got quite a few new subscribers, and I am a new channel. I'm new to YouTube, just starting out, so I'm quite a small channel. So I really appreciate everyone subscribing. It means a lot to me, and I love seeing our community grow and getting to talk with you guys and hear from you all and your feedback and experiences and all of that. So I thought that it might be fun to do a video where we do kind of like a get to know me Q&A, where you all can ask me questions either about me personally or projects that I've done, where I've gotten things, or even about projects that you're doing, to kind of get my thoughts on it or advice or anything else that you can think of, to just kind of start talking with you guys more and kind of open up those conversations, because I love hearing from you all. So I thought that a good way to start that off might be for you all to learn a little bit more about me. So if you're interested in that, if that sounds like something that you would want to watch, then leave a comment comment, let me know if you have any questions for me. Leave that in the comments as well. And when I get enough questions, then we can do a video like that. So I will quit procrastinating now, and we can take out all of the stuff in this closet and get started. Okay, so we are in the corner of the closet. The small closet filming struggles begin. We need to take out, this is our Dyson vacuum mount, like the charging mount. So we need to take this out and move it to the other side because we're gonna have shelves over here, so it can't be here. I think I'm gonna try and put some paintable caulking into these holes to kind of hide them a little bit, and then we can just put a little bit of paint over it and the shelves will be here, so you won't really notice it much, I'm hoping. So we're gonna take this mount out and then just set it off to the side and we can mount it on the other side. Success. Okay, so we got the Dyson moved over, and so we're gonna try and patch up some of these holes in here. And honestly, that's kind of just the vibe of this closet. This closet's super old. It's original to the house, so it's from the 1920s. You know, the way that they built things, that is not the way that we build things now. Some of it's better, some of it's not as good. So there's like a lot of gapping in areas and things like that, and just structural foundation of how they did stuff is solid. It's, you know, very strong and it's not going anywhere, but it doesn't look as pretty as maybe we would do it now. There is a lot of kind of quirky things in this closet, and I'm not trying to make it perfect. I'm just trying to make it more aesthetically pleasing and more functional. So I'm gonna patch the bigger holes. Any little cracks and things I probably won't mess with too much. And once I get all the shelving in here, I'm gonna do some like little touch-up paint sort of things. But I'm not gonna paint the whole closet because really realistically you're not gonna see much of it once all the stuff is in here. And since I'm not changing the color inside the closet, I don't think it really would make much of an impact. Maybe I'll be wrong and maybe I'll end up wanting to do it at the end. But if that's the case, I can always take the stuff back out and paint. So that's what I'm thinking right now. We'll see if I end up regretting that and painting later on, but we're gonna just take it as it comes and have some fast dry paintable caulking. I used this in the studio when I did all the wainscoting, and so this dries in 20 minutes and then you can paint over it. Obviously I'm gonna wipe that so it won't look like that, but that filled it for the most part. Okay, so I have the first half of a shelf in. I wanted to test it out, but what I'm finding is something that I've found all throughout our house because it was built so long ago. A lot of the walls and rooms and things like that are not perfectly straight or even. So the measurement that it is at this point is not the same measurement up against the back wall. So I think it's probably like 1/4 of an inch smaller back there than it is up at this point right here. And this is where I measured when I measured for the shelves. And the shelves are the exact measurement that I needed, but because it's a little bit more narrow back there, I'm having to kind of hammer them into place. So that's totally fine. They're gonna be super snug and secure. They're not gonna go anywhere. I'm putting some support beams underneath that I'm drilling the shelf into. And then there's going to be another shelf that goes right here and it'll have a connector piece that supports it. I've gone ahead and kind of marked out on the wall where all the shelves are going to sit. They're going to be approximately 9 inches apart, and they're going to go up until the clothing rod up at the top, and then we will put some shelves up high and also down at the bottom for extra storage. But I'm going to keep putting these shelves in, and then I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, so we have all the shelves in except for this last little bottom section, which I already pre-built out here, so it should be pretty quick and easy. I'm literally so tired from putting all these shelves in. These walls are so hard. It takes so much force to drill into them. It's crazy. I'm very excited to be done with the shelves almost. So we're gonna put in the bottom shelves and then we'll do a little bit of touch-up painting, and then we'll be able to start putting in the clothes and some of the more decorative elements. I'll show you, but I hung a little old curtain rod thing right up here in the doorway where you can't really see it from out there. You can only see it inside of here. And that's what I'm going to hang the pendant light from so that it can hang down right above in the closet here. And then I'll just tack it and run it down the wall to the plug that we put at the bottom. That's all done. I had a little mishap with the very, very top shelf up here. I'm not sure. I must have not had enough scrap wood to make it as wide as I originally wanted. I don't remember what happened, but it ended up being a much skinnier shelf than I had thought I would be doing. Kind of just made it work as best I could. That's the section that's going to have the curtain in front of it, so it's going to hide it anyways. It's not the cutest shelf up there. Definitely the other ones turned out a lot better, just because the sizing doesn't really make sense up there because that one is so skinny. But that's okay. It'll still give some extra storage. We can put smaller items up there, boxes, boots, that sort of thing. Can go at the very top and then it'll be behind the curtain. Yeah, we are almost done. We're gonna put in the last shelves, do some touch-ups, and then we can put in the decorating elements. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do for the closet makeover kind of upgrade is to make a light that can go into the closet. So it's pretty dark in the closet at the moment. There's no light in it. So I want to make a pendant light that we can hang in there that will add to the look and the decor and kind of make it just a little bit more pleasing to the eye, but also give us the functionality of making it brighter. I got this little pendant light kit off of Amazon. I actually already had this because I want to make a different style of pendant light for our bedroom and put like a grow light in it for plants that we have in there. It came in a pack of 2, so I have an extra. So I'm going to use the extra that I have to make the pendant light for the closet. I'm also going to be using some air dry clay, and this is a pack that I had already used some from. You can tell because I taped it shut so it wouldn't dry out, and it's just the Das air dry clay. I really like that kind. I think it's pretty easy to work with. And then other than that, that's really all that you need. And there are a lot of different ways that you can make this pendant light. The style that I'm going to go for needs the circular object and the wire, but if you did a different style, you probably wouldn't need that. And you probably want it to be a little bit thicker of a wire so that your mold doesn't bend when it's drying. So I'm going to be using some old coat hangers. These are literally just like the little metal wire ones that you get from like the dry cleaner, or they have them at the dollar store. So you just need a few of these, and we're going to cut them to be straight pieces to make a mold for our pendant light. Okay, so now we have them all cut and ready to go. I cut 5 of them and then we'll see if we need any more. So I'm gonna straighten these out as best as I can. They don't need to be perfect, but just definitely straighter than they are right now in the coat shape. So more like this sort of situation. And this is probably too long for what we're gonna need. So I think we're gonna end up trimming this down and having 2 pieces from this. I'm just gonna do that for each of these, just straighten them out and cut them in half, and then we'll be able to kind of assemble our mold. Okay, so I went ahead and took all of my wires that I cut in half. I actually only ended up using 3 coat hangers for this, not the 5 that I thought I was going to use. Just kind of crisscrossed them and bent them over the tape in the center. And I took some floral wire and just kind of secured them in this position. I'm going to roll the clay out to be probably like 1/8 of an inch thick, fairly thin, but you still want it to be thick enough that it's going to be strong and not tear when you're putting it onto the mold. So I really don't know how much clay I'm gonna need to make the size circle that I need. So I'm gonna start by just taking this entire block and rolling it out, and then I can cut some away and put it back into the bag if I don't use it all and save it for a future project. And I like to just flip it as I roll different directions so that it doesn't all roll out in one way and I get like a really long stretch of clay. It makes it more of an even circle. Okay, so here's where we're at. It's pretty thin rolled out, so that's about the thickness. I think it will be good and not tear. So it's a little bit smaller than the mold, but that's actually fine with me because the closet is not very large. I don't want the light to be too large or it's going to get hit and bumped a lot and could possibly break. So I want to kind of carve out a circle shape. It doesn't need to be a perfect circle, but just get some of these rough edges off so that we can lay it over our mold. Alright, so this is all of the extra that I have. Not a crazy amount, but definitely we could make something with this, or we might need it later for our pendant light. So I'm going to put this in the bag, and then I'm just going to take our clay and gently set it off to the side so I can put our mold here. All we're going to do is just lay our clay over it like this. And then I'm gonna wet my fingers and gently kind of smooth in between each of these. I want them to dip in. And for me, I think it's good to have different distances like this. I think it looks nice, but you could always make it more even if that bothers you. So I'll let that sit for a second and then we'll do another pass with the water, but I wanna cut out our pendant hole of where it's gonna go. Okay, so I'm gonna take my pendant light and I'm gonna use this as my guide and just kind of make a ring right here in the center. So that shows me how big the hole in the center needs to be for me to be able to fit the pendant light through. Don't worry too much with this if your hole that you mark out is slightly smaller than what you need later on. You can always take some sandpaper and kind of sand it down a little bit more to make it fit. I would rather it be slightly small and sand it rather than too big and then what are you gonna do? Hopefully this is the right size. We will find out tomorrow when it dries. We'll leave it to dry overnight, and tomorrow we can come and take it off and then paint it or glaze it and let it dry overnight again, and then it'll be good to go. I'm not totally sure if I'm gonna paint this one. I want to see how the color dries and how I like it in the closet. The pendant light that's going in it is black, so I may paint it to be a slightly darker shade, or I may just let it be contrasting. All right, so we are back. I let this dry overnight, and I would say that today it was about 90% dry. It's pretty close to dry. What I did was I took our heat gun and kind of just heated it up to help it dry a little bit faster. Wanted to get started on some of the next steps so that we can get it into the closet and hanging. I tested out to see if this would fit from where we marked it out, and it is a little bit small for what we need. So I'm just gonna lightly take a piece of sandpaper sandpaper. This is 120 grit sandpaper. So I'm just gonna roll it like this, and then we can put it inside this little hole and kind of just shave it away a little bit. Lightly go over some of these edges so that they're nice and smooth, and then we are gonna paint this. So yesterday when I was making this, I wasn't really sure if I was gonna paint it or leave it in the natural clay color. And then today I was kind of just scrolling through Pinterest and I saw a picture that I'll put on the screen here that I thought was so pretty. And as soon as I saw it, I knew that I needed to do something like that for this pendant light. So I think that we can totally do all of those things. I'm pretty sure that I have an Edison bulb in our garage. I have chocolate brown paint, and then I also have gold rub and buff that we can put onto the pendant light. So that's kind of my plan. So I want to get it sanded so that we can paint it and let that dry and glaze it. So tomorrow it'll be dry and we can hang it. Alright, so I got it all sanded down, all the edges are nice and smooth, and I got the pendant light opening big enough for it to fit in. So I put it in just to kind of see what it's going to look like. This is basically what the lamp will look like. I do plan to put some brass coloring on the light on the top and the bottom, and we're going to paint this brown, so that will change, but this is the general shape, and I think it's really pretty. So I am going to take the pendant light back off so that we can paint the lamp shade, and then we'll let that dry and I'll glaze it tonight. I've decided that, and this is something that I hadn't planned on doing originally, but for the closet, in the top section of the closet, there's going to be 2 shelves. So what I want to do is for the very top shelf, I want to put a curtain up just to kind of hide anything that's back there and add a little bit of design to the space. And that way Matt's going to be able to put stuff that is maybe not as organized up there, or stuff that he doesn't use very often, and we can just kind of hide it behind the curtain and it'll look a lot nicer. And then for the shelf that's directly below that, I want to go and get a couple of baskets that we can put there just to kind of give 2 texture and design elements to those shelves that we won't have in the other shelves in the space, because everything else will be more like open shelving. So I think that will help to kind of pull the look together and make it look a lot nicer. So I know that originally I was trying to do this with all materials that I already had, but because I want to add a couple more design elements, I am going to buy a few things to put into this closet renovation, but the majority of the closet is going to be things that we already have. I expect that I'm going to spend less than $50 on this entire thing. For the curtain, I already had this fabric on hand. I was planning on making a skirt with it, but I can use this for the closet right now, and then I can always get more fabric for a skirt down the road. I also have another pattern in this same material that I can use for a skirt too. Not a big deal. And then the things that I'm going to be buying for this closet that I've now kind of added into the renovation, and this is something that I tend to do when I'm doing a room makeover, I will have ideas of what I want the space to look like and inspiration for the space, and I'll kind of pick and choose elements to put together. And the way that it works in my brain is that I will have these pieces of things that I want the room to look like. Slowly, as I get more pieces of things, it will come together as a whole image in my brain. And once I have that picture in my head, then I'm able to kind of jump in and make it come to life. But I also will have, oftentimes when I'm doing a makeover and I'm putting all those elements into place, it will spark new ideas for me. And that could either be like, as I'm doing it, I think of something that I think would really add to the space, or if I'm working on a space and researching something for the future, it might give me me ideas that I didn't think of before. Because of that, I came up with an idea that I wanted to add into this space as well, and I want to put some hanging pictures on the inside of the closet door. So I know that sounds kind of funny because it's the inside of the door and you won't see it very much, but I think it would be a really cool detail when you open the door to be able to see that. So I'm ordering some things for that as well, and you all will see what that's going to kind of look like a little bit later in the video when we put that in, but it's going to be really cool. It's going to add that vintage touch to the space and just be like a nice surprise detail. What we're going to do now is make the curtain. For this particular curtain, I'm going to have it actually sit on the curtain rod. So we're going to make a loop that it can go through. The shelf space that this is going to hide is 53 inches long and 26 inches tall. I like to do it where I give extra fabric to the length. That way it can scrunch up a little bit more and give more texture. So I'm probably going to go more in like the 65, 70 inch length. And then for the height, it needs to be a minimum of 26 inches tall, but I know that we're going to have about an inch of seam allowance on the edges and then a few inches on the top because we're making that loop. I'm going to go ahead and cut the fabric, and we're going to go with the no-sew method like we've done in previous videos. It's just super easy, super quick. I can glue it and then move on with my project. So we're going to use that same glue that we've used before, Fabric Fusion, and just lay the glue down, press the fabric onto it, and we will leave it to dry. Oh my gosh, you guys, we did it. All the shelves are in, the drilling is done. So now what we're going to do is some painting, and then we can put in the decorative items. So we are in the home stretch. It's almost done. I think it looks really, really good. I think this is going to help Matt so much. I think he's going to be able to organize his stuff way better. He's going to be able to find things. So now he's actually going to be able to see everything. We've got some lights in here. He's going to have the pendant light. So I just think it's going to be so much better. We are going to move right on and wrap up the end of this project. And make sure you stick around so that you can see all of the decorating pieces that I put in and the final look of this space. Alright, so I just went ahead and picked up the pictures that I had printed. So I was going to show you what they look like. So this is our first one. And then we have these pretty flowers. And this one. All of these picture frames I already had on hand. These two were passed down to me from a family friend that was moving. And then this one was a gift. So for all the pictures, I'm going to run the chain through their little pre-existing hooks that they have, but this one's an older frame and so it didn't have that on the back. So I just added some little hooks right here that we can run the chain through. We are going to take our chain. I got this one on Amazon, and I'm going to hook it onto the hook that we put on the door, and then we can open and close the chains as we go to attach them to our pictures. And then we're just going to try and connect them to be kind of tight to the door. That way when it opens and closes, it won't move around too much. And if we find that it's still moving around a bit and kind of banging around the pictures, then we can just add a little bit of like the earthquake tacky stuff or like a command strip or something to hold it in place. Okay, so we got them all on. It was a little bit of a pain to get everything open and closed. I got Matt to help me because it was hard to do with my long nails. So I'm going to use some of this Quake Hold stuff. I really like this stuff. I use it on like decorative items around the house if I don't want them to move or be knocked over. And I'm just going to put some on the back to hold them in place so they don't bounce around much. So you literally just stick it on the edge of the frame. You tear a piece off and like make a little ball. Press it. So you press it on and then it won't move around. Alright guys, well that wraps up this week's video. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you're able to take away some tips and ideas to make a small space in your house more functional and useful for you. I'm super happy with how this space turned out, especially because we did it on such a tight budget using almost entirely things that we already had on hand, which is something that I really love to do. And I just think that it's going to be such a good change for just the functionality of this space and our day-to-day life. So I really love how it turned out. I think it's such a big improvement. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can see more of my videos every week. I put out new videos every single Sunday. And don't forget, if you are interested in seeing a video that's kind of a Q&A style, get to know me, leave a question in the comments below so that I can start to gather those, and we can hopefully do a video like that where we all get to know each other a little bit better. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next Sunday.